Hi everyone, so today I'm going to discuss about one of the parasitic protozoa organisms named Giardia lamblia. Giardia lamblia belongs to the kingdom of Architecta or Archozoa. Its phylum is Metamonada and its order is Diplomonadida. Giardia lamblia is a flagellated protozoan parasite that colonizes and reproduces in the small intestine, causing diarrheal illness known as Giardiasis. The Giardia parasite attaches to the epithelium by a ventral adhesive disc and reproduces via binary fission. It does not spread via bloodstream nor does it spread to other parts of the gastrointestinal tract but remains confined to the lumen of the small intestine. It is protected by an outer shell that allows it to survive outside the body for long periods of time and makes it tolerant to chlorine disinfection. Giardia lamblia cannot synthesize nucleic acids de novo. It uses glucose and arginine as major energy sources. They obtain these energy sources from their host, often through degradation of host mucus. Lipids are absorbed directly or via endocytosis, and their food reserves are stored in the form of glycogen. Giardia lamblia exists in two forms, an active form called trapezoid and an inactive form called a cyst. The active trapezoid attaches to the lining of the small intestine with a sucker and is responsible for causing the signs and symptoms of Giardiasis. This parasite is generally teardrop-shaped with two visible nuclei. Both nuclei are transcriptionally active and it has two rigid median bodies. Its structure is maintained with tubulin and giardins, and its surface is also covered with cystine-rich molecules. This trapezoid is also motile. The trapezoid cannot live long outside of the body, therefore it cannot spread the infection to others. And the other one, the inactive form, is the Giardia lamblia cyst. Giardia cysts are slightly smaller than trapezoid and have four visibly distinct nuclei. It has protective surface, and this can exist for prolonged periods outside the body. It has a median rod known as an axostyle, often visible down the center of the organism, as you can see in the representations given. Some animals, or mostly these domestic mammals like dogs and humans, can be infected by this kind of organism. So now let's talk about the life cycle of Giardia lamblia. Compared with many protists, Giardia lamblia has a simple life cycle alternating between cyst and trapezoid. So the life cycle begins with a non-infective cyst being excreted with the feces of an infected individual. When it is ingested, stomach acid activates the cyst and the cyst develops into the disease-causing trapezoid, and it takes ingestion of only 10 cysts to cause infection. As I have said earlier, the cyst is hard, providing protection from various degrees of heat or cold, desiccation, and infection from other organisms. Once ingested by a host, the trapezoid emerges to an active state of feeding and motility. After the feeding stage, the trapezoid undergoes asexual replication through longitudinal binary fission. The resulting trapezoids and cysts then pass through the digestive system in the feces. While trapezoids may be found in the feces, only the cysts are capable of surviving outside of the host. Trapezoids are important not only because they cause the symptoms of Giardiasis, but also because they produce the cyst that exits the body in the feces and spread the infection to others. So now, where can Giardia lamblia be found? So this organism is found on surfaces or in soil, food, water that has been contaminated with feces from infected humans or animals. Some also may be from sporadic individual infections or epidemic form like drinking water, and water is the most common mode of transmission of these organisms. The disease caused on symptoms associated with these organisms or these Giardia infections are giardiosis or backpackers diarrhea, abdominal pains or cramps, upset stomach or nausea, dehydration, fatigue, and malaise. And there are several diagnoses for these Giardia infections, and one of these are antigen testing of the stool, where a small sample of stool is tested for the presence of Giardia proteins, and also examination of stool under the microscope for cysts or trophozoites, and collection and examination of fluid from the duodenum or biopsy of the small intestine. There are several drugs that can be used to treat Giardia infections, which include metronidazole or Flagyl, an antibiotic, tinidazole or Tindamax, and nitazoxanide or Alinia. But some of these drugs are not available. And alternatives to these medications include paromomycin, quinacrine, and furazolidone. And now for the prevention. To prevent from infections of these kind of organisms, one should not drink from freshwater streams or lakes without boiling or filtering the water. Do not use ice or drink beverages made from tap water that may be contaminated. Do not eat uncooked or unpeeled fruits or vegetables grown in contaminated areas. And lastly, wash hands before eating food, after changing diapers, using the bathroom, or touching the pets. So that was all for the Giardia Lamblia. Thank you for listening.